Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we are going to be looking at a classic of card magic, the ultimate card to box, or Box Clever for those that own the original version, from James Brown, recently published from Illusionist. It's an updated version of the original Box Clever with some new ideas, some new moments, and some new ways of handling the routine that I think for those that love the card to box plot, you should get this because it does have some really nice additions that I think you're gonna love to add to your actual already existing routine. So saying that, let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Perfect, so decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about the ultimate card to box. So what is this? This is essentially the classic routine from James Brown, Box Clever. This is one of the routines that I think most card magicians do or do some variation of or have learned at some point in their life. It's kind of the holy grail of card to box, deck to box routine because it's a multi-layered routine that builds and builds and builds, and it's built on misdirection. It doesn't use any gimmicks, any incredibly hard sleight of hand. It is a routine that is going to test your ability to misdirect and to learn how to misdirect audiences, which is why I think it is so popular. So I think the best way to explain this to you is to do a performance, but I won't be able to do the full performance because we are on YouTube, which means that you're going to be able to rewind and see every single move that I'm doing. And what does that mean? You're essentially going to learn the routine for free from my performance. So because of that, I'll just give you an idea of how the routine works and how I perform it, because I perform it a bit differently, because he does give you ideas of how to make it modular and to your taste, and this is how I do it. So personally, I would have someone select a card, they select it, they return it to the deck. I then proceed to give them the deck to shuffle. They shuffle it, I take it back, I do a move. You can do whatever you want. You look, the card is now going to appear on the box. And then you show that on the box there's one card. You show the card, you're like, look, this is the card. Was this your card? It is. You then proceed to tell them, look, are you right-handed or left-handed? You then proceed to give them the box. They're going to hold the box. You say, look, we're going to do it again. Super fair. Boom, it's going to land right on top. You say, okay, wait. Boom. And it's going to land on top. Do you see the card? They're going to say no, but say, look, this is the back of the box. The top of the box is over here. As you lift this in their hand, the card is going to appear in the hand. You then proceed to say, okay, we'll do it one last time. You do it, and then you say, look, 1, 2, 3. But this time, instead of making your card disappear, we're going to make the deck disappear. Can you guess where it went? And you show that the deck will be underneath the box to the side of the table. And that's where I end my routine. But if you want, you can then continue to have the card appear inside of the box, and then you can have the finale of having the whole deck appear inside of the box. But this is the new way that he does the routine, because if you know the original way, normally when the card appears underneath the box, you're not allowed to show this card. You say, okay, do you want to see that again? And then you do it. But with the new variation, you can cleanly show when the card is here. You say, look, there's one card on the table. What was your card? King of clubs? King of clubs. And you can cleanly show it like that. So I think the addition that he does for that phase is chef's kiss. And I think everyone that does the original routine is going to switch to this new version because I think it's just so much better. So now that I've said that and kind of gave you an idea of the performance, let's talk about where you buy this, how much does it cost, and what do you get. So this is exclusively available from Illusionist.com. It's going to set you back $20 US, which is around 28 Canadian. And what you get here is an hour video download that is going to go over multiple things. It has live performances of the routine and studio performances as well. And the download is separated in two parts. He's going to teach you the original Box Clever routine. So the first around 25-30 minutes of the an hour 10 download is going to be him teaching to you the original routine. So he's going to go over how that works, why it's so popular, etc. All the moments, he's going to teach you that. Then afterwards, it separates, the download is going to split, and you're going to learn the new routine. And in this new routine, he's accompanied with kind of the new performer from Illusionist. I'm sorry if I don't know his name, but he's the one that's kind of doing the social media performances for them recently. So he's occupied in doing that, and he's at the table with James Brown, and they kind of go back and forth, during the moves, like, oh, you know, what would you think of this, or what would you say about this? And it's very interesting to see when he's performing it and he's getting asked questions about the effect, you know, how he would handle it. And he does raise some very interesting questions sometimes, like, oh, but how do you make them not see, for example, when you do this? So it does a really good back and forth, and I love tutorials like that, because sometimes you have a question, you're like, oh, but that, you know, what would I do in that case? And that person asks it for you. So, you know, it's very nice. It's very well filmed. The tutorial is great, and he teaches you the entire new routine. It's not an entirely new routine. It's just the first kind of half of it until you get to the deck appearing under the box, because after that it's the classic routine still. But up until that point, you know, almost half of the routine is changed and updated to be a bit more modernized, which is great, and everything is explained in detail in the video. So now that you know that, what is the difficulty of this effect? The difficulty here of this effect is not incredibly difficult, but it's not beginner as well, because it relies heavily on misdirection. So much so that, as I said, I can't even do it to camera, because the camera will catch the misdirection. It's impossible to basically misdirect the camera, except if you have, you know, good camera angles and you're doing lapping and stuff like that, you can misdirect the camera. But in a routine such as this that happens on the table, it's very hard to misdirect if you don't have the camera switching back and forth like Full Lust to maybe, you know, distract you, etc. But it is a routine that relies on misdirection, which means that you're going to have to learn that. And you're also going to learn some moves. You're going to have to learn some moves here and some routining. You know, for example, you're going to have to learn at one point a top change if you don't know. So you're going to have to do that move. Overall, the moves aren't too difficult, but I would say the routine is definitely not beginner, nor is it really advanced. I would say intermediate level magician, you can get away with doing this routine without any issues. Now let's talk about practicality. So how practical is this? What do you need to do this routine? All you need is a deck of cards. It doesn't even have to be a complete deck of cards. As long as you have a deck of cards, you'll be able to do this routine without any problems. In terms of table, you will need a table for this, for some parts of it, depending what you do, but you don't really need a table. You can also, as I said, what I like about this is that the routine is modular, which makes it practical. So you're going to be able to kind of, if you don't have a table, you can just do the parts that are happening in the hand of the spectator. And also he gives you alternatives, you know. With the table one, when you give them the deck to shuffle and you push the deck to the side, he even tells you that if you don't have a table, you can just do the move and say to someone, hey, can you please just hold this for a second? Just like as a casual thing, and you do it like that. So you don't necessarily need a table. He gives you variations to do it standing up as well. So that's very nice. In terms of inspectability, it's a normal deck of cards, can be fully inspected. In terms of angles, technically the angles are 360 because the moves are bold and they happen in the open. So it is 360, you're not really hiding much in terms of angles. In terms of repeatability, it can be repeated for the whole night if you want without any problem whatsoever. Now let's talk about where do you perform. So where do you perform this? This is definitely a routine that you can perform pretty much anywhere. If you want to do this close up, you can do it. If you want to do this at, you know, table hopping, restaurants, marriages, corporate events, stage, parlor, etc. You can do this pretty much anywhere. As long as you like the routine, it can be achieved anywhere you want as long as you have a deck of cards and some willing spectators. So having said all of this, what are the positives and negatives of this effect? So first, let's start out with the negatives, as always. One of the negatives is that if you're not confident in your misdirection skills, you may overstress about certain moves and about certain parts of the routine, which are going to make you fidget. Personally, even to this day, doing the load of the card inside of the box, I still feel that people will catch me every single time, and I'm not confident doing it, which is why I don't do it as part of the routine. I just don't do it, and sometimes when I do it, I just do the casual instead of actually having it appear and doing the move to have it inside of the box. I just do, you know, the casual card to box move where I'm like, oh, you know, you do the palm and then you're just like, look, inside of the box, there's actually one card, the King of Clubs, right? And that's what's nice because it's modular, which is a positive, but there are some moves that will take a bit of practice, and maybe if you're still new or not confident in your misdirection skills, you may not be as confident doing the routine. Now, in terms of positives, one, the routine is absolutely great. The instructions are great. It's modular. You know on this channel that I love modular routines. You know that I love taking a routine and not doing it as it's published, making it my own and constructing it with my previous knowledge and my hobbies and what I love in mentalism and magic. And this one is perfect because sometimes I do the card box load at the end. If I feel it, if I see the crowd is really into it, I'm going to do it. But if not, I'm just going to end with the deck under the box. if I want and if I see, people are not interested, what's interesting is that you can just do the first phase. You have the card appear on the box, boom, and then you have it appear under their hand and you stop there. I love routines that offer this. It's absolutely great. In terms of practicality, it's also very practical, can be performed pretty much anywhere, and it's a staple routine. I think if you do card magic, you do have to learn this or have learned this at some point, and I think that the new additions are worth your 20 bucks. So, having said all of this, would I recommend Box Clever? Yes, but Ultimate Card to Box, which is the new name, would I recommend it? And my answer is yes. If you're into card magic, buy it. You will love it. I think it is absolutely great. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's a fantastic routine. The additions are fantastic. And I think you're going to love it if you actually buy it. So I definitely recommend it. And that said, as always, if you have any questions, leave them down below. If not, I'll see you all in my next review. Have a great one, and